few more people step in since we're there.
I'm keeping my head down.
Mayor James Baker here with us in Wilmington. Mayor, it's always a pleasure to have you on.
It's great to be here.
A lot of headaches going on right now.
Yeah, everybody's lacking money. I mean, they see their revenues, ours just dropped like a rock, and you hope that it stops after a while, but it's still a problem, and we're going to have to figure out how to meet the revenue losses that we've seen. We've seen 60, 50% drops in our revenues. And
holy cow.
It's been a mess. So that's the same thing happening to the state, same thing happening to the county. And we've just got to work it through. We'll get out of it eventually, but there's going to be a lot of pain before we get there.
Yeah, because when you're talking about it, I mean, the whole economy is, I mean,
it's topsy-turvy.
It's not only the government, it's the private, you know, a lot of people look at the private sector, but the government's feeling it just as bad because all of a sudden I'm not paying as many taxes as what I once did because I'm not making the money that I once did.
Millions have been laid off, and so you just got this thing, and it started from greed.
Got a grant for me? Oh.
Beg pardon?
Grant.
But it's so tough at times, but yet you seem to keep the city on a, I want to say a positive, you know, what's happening.
Well, you've got to keep moving. You can't stop just because of bad times. I mean, we still got to develop the city. We've still got to provide the services. So when you have to make tough decisions like taxes and all the rest, you make them. That's what we're here for. A lot of people take it the opposite. They put their which way do people, you know, if you find someone out there that says, yes, I love paying taxes, I want to meet that person.
Right.
That's the strangest creature on the face of the earth. None of us want to pay taxes if we didn't have to. But it's a necessity because it is for the common good of all of us. And so we have to pay taxes to get the certain services that we want. And looks like we're in that kind of a mold where we're going to have to raise revenue some kind of way. Poor Nutter in Philadelphia, he started out with $1 billion, thought they were all right, and then it sunk even further to another $1 billion.
Holy
so
cow.
He's looking for $2 billion.
Yeah, and I was going to say, because even though I've known you for quite a few years now, and with all that's happening, you don't change. You know.
I think life is what it is, and you make the best of it. If it's bad, you keep on plugging away, and I think people that let the bad, you know, scare them half to death. Like there's people out here afraid to go to dinner, afraid to spend some money, afraid to buy the cars that you advertise, or the other things. We should do those things because that is what makes the economy work.
Well, we talked the last time before DAFs ruined our sound, you know, which was a good conversation because we were talking about that. It takes us, because we're a credit country, that we've been that way
for a long time.
Yeah, and so without credit, and people all of a sudden are getting afraid to go.
Right.
But that's the American way.
That's the American economy, and I don't know why we're still talking about the economy as if it's how many cars do we produce. We don't do that anymore, hardly, in a good fashion anyways. Steel industry's gone, leather industry's gone, most of the other manufacturing's gone, so we don't have the same economy that you and I had when we were kids. I mean, when I grew up, at one time I remember we had one person unemployed.
Oh,
and
wow.
there was really no reason for they being unemployed.
Well, I just drank too much.
Every city has to have that bum out there. but when you look at that, because it is a different time than when we grew up, and you look at today, it's all based on, you know, that going to the bank and saying, hey, I need more money.
It's a service economy and a consumer economy. So we buy, that keeps the economy up. We don't buy, the economy goes down. And until we really shift our economy to where we go to green and other kinds of new technology, we're going to have this problem. We got to accept that the economy is at the flux. It's going to change. And unfortunately, we were forced to change by people being greedy with selling people things they could not afford to buy.
Right.
You know, the mortgage dilemma, the foreclosure is going to happen for several years down the line. Because a lot of people took these 5-year deals where all of a sudden the boom is going to happen in 5 years. Well, they're going to lose their property.
Right, because they're
unless they can refinance it, restructure it.
And that's where the difficulty comes, because before, if you filled out a piece of paper, yeah, you got the money.
Right.
Where right now they're saying, and the way it should have always been,
Right.
you know, do you qualify to get that much
Right.
money? So before you could qualify to say $800 a month payment.
Right.
Well, you did it on that balloon thing where in 5 years it was going to go up and double that.
Right.
And a lot of those people thought, well, I'll just sell the house.
Sell the house.
Yeah, and
values now are hitting rock bottom.
Yeah.
So it's really a dilemma, and unfortunately, people bought bad paper. They did not check how these mortgages were secured, number one. What was the deals that the people signed? So now China owns a whole bunch of our worthless paper.
Yeah, God bless them.
Well, the Chinese bought a lot of our debt.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
A tremendous amount.
And that's why you're seeing it as a world. It's not just the United States economy; it's the whole world's
Look at
economy.
Iceland. They almost had riots in Iceland because they had to take over the banks because they were failing in Iceland. Japan poured billions of dollars into theirs. England, Great Britain poured billions of dollars into theirs. India, they're all doing it the same as we are. We have these idiots like Limbaugh sitting around talking about, well, I'd rather see him fail. Well, he's talking about me.
Yeah, right.
He's not talking about the president. He's talking about he wants me to go broke. Well, I'm sorry. I don't want to go broke, and I don't plan to.
No, because what the thing about it is, you've always run a pretty good tight ship anyways, I mean, with your budget, because when you went into office, of course, we were in a heavy deficit at that time. You got a little bit of a surplus built up, which is helping a little bit, but that's going to disappear.
In time.
Yeah.
If we don't get straightened out, it will disappear. No, we were doing very, very well, and like our last posting was like a $60 million surplus. And then a few months later, it was like, what's happening here? We're just free falling. So anyways, I think we'll get out of it, but I can't tell you, sit here and say, oh, it's only going to be 6 months, a year, 2 years. I just don't know.
And I don't think anybody does.
And whether people like it or not, pouring trillions of dollars into our financial system from the government is the only thing to do. You cannot ignore that. Now, I'll show you an example. You got an insurance policy through AIG or whatever else. Now, that insurance policy is for your relatives, your wife, your children, if something happens to you.
Right.
It's passed on so that they can get over that or pay off the debts or bury. What if they took it away and said, now your insurance policy, all that money you paid all these years is worth zero. We can't pay you. Well, what would happen? I think that's silly to say not to do those kind of things. Unfortunately, banks have made bad
FDR
mistakes.
did it. I mean, back when we were in a crisis once before, and he, the way that he did it, and I think, Obama's kind of, I should say President Obama, nobody gives him respect if I just calls him Obama. But, the president has looked at the past history and saw some of the things that were done in the infrastructure of the United States. It's time for us to start rebuilding some
And we
of that.
have good people that's making decisions. So it's a very tough problem. We'll get out of it again. Americans we fuss and we fight and we argue about everything, but when it comes down to push comes to shove, we usually find our way, and we usually know that we've got to do things, and we do it.
Do you color your hair or anything?
No.
I was just wondering, because I've never seen gray coming in.
I won't tell you how our family grays for the males. We start in the lower part and it comes up.
You got my problem then. But it's always a pleasure, because you seem to handle it really well. And anything, we're always there to support the city, as you know, and anything we do for you guys, you just let us know. But you do a fantastic job. I don't know of a better mayor. I say that to a lot of people. You've done a great job since you've been there.
You.
How long have you been community serving now?
Over 40 years.
40 years. Big hand for Mayor James Baker. Stay with us. Be right back right after this.
Find out more about the Tim Call Show and other Positive Promotion productions, then log on to our website at www.posprotv.com.